What's up, guys? Moonman here, and we're gonna start this road trip vlog out again, like we do every year. Right now we're in Tazewell, Tennessee. Actually, more specifically, I guess, at the Tazewell Church of God, close to Middlesboro, Kentucky, home of the legend Harrison Mays. Let's go check it out. Yeah, as you may know, Harrison Mays, he became inspired by God after he was like saved from a mining accident. And he erected all these roadside crosses. And while these probably weren't his, he always did put something like this, prayer to meet God. But this one is for sure the Jesus is coming soon. Well, and this one is for sure an original Harrison Mays cross, for sure. And he's no longer with us. And not that many of his crosses survive today. Like this one's put here. I'm sure it probably was in the ground at some point. There is another one back that way I filmed last year. But they would just be on the side of highways, and since the highways have expanded, they've kind of went away. There's actually a highway marker right there. So yeah, this is not one of the last ones. There's a lot in the Museum of Appalachia, North Tennessee, but this is definitely one of the originals. So I thought I'd pull over here and share that with you. All right, we are in Cumberland Gap, Tennessee, about to be in the town, and we're gonna go through the aforementioned Cumberland Gap, which I've never been through, and so far this is such a fucking beautiful fucking place. Oh my gosh, I have no idea what Daniel Boone was smoking when he went through here, but I appreciate him for this. All right, this coming up here will be the town of Cumberland Gap. There is the mountain there. There's a man and his dog. Doesn't get much better than that, just walking your dog in the mountain area, you know what I'm saying? Not that I would know. So yeah, we're about to go through this gap. This looks like a cabin home. It's pretty cool. We don't have really time to stop and eat here today or do anything. Well, we already ate anyway. But I've always kind of wanted to see this little town, so I'm kind of glad I've got to do it now. Let's go up here and take a left. Driving tour with Moonman. There's a lot of people out, man. Like sitting out and stuff. They love this thing. Russell Burkow Memorial Park. There's just a sock on there's a bunch of socks on my dashboard. All right, see you at the tunnel. So it's still here in Cumberland Gap, Tennessee. There's supposed to be some iron furnace down here. If it's not too far, we're gonna walk to it. But I can hear water rushing. I kind of would like to see that, so let's do it. Keep in mind, on the other side of this mountain that you can't see because of the trees is Kentucky. Oh, hey, look how clear that water is. A beautiful mountain stream. I'm actually wanting to appreciate something like this. What type of rock is that? The green one. Oh yeah. I don't know. Really beautiful though. If you guys look over here, up there behind that is the furnace. We'll go over there in just a second. Here at this particular furnace, they made 3 tons of iron a day. There it is. Go look at it. I've seen one. I think it might have been called the Hope Furnace in Ohio, near Zaleski, Ohio, last year. You can go look back on the road trip video for that. Or I think it's in my Moonville Rail Tunnel video. But there's the furnace. Literally, I guess the smoke or whatever would come out of there. And I'm sure there's little holes to tend to it, or there were at one point, but there's not now. That's pretty interesting. Here, still in Cumberland Gap, that used to be the mill, I would assume. And right up here,
Bicycle museum.
Oh, bicycle museum? They got a bicycle museum in Cumberland Gap. Herb shop. I think that was the train station. Well, come with me on my ride through the Cumberland Gap tunnel. Well, now that I've been here for about 10 seconds, I could say it's really badass.
You can't even see the end of it.
This is a lot longer than I thought it was already.
Bro, this is awesome.
I know, I love this tunnel. Yeah, this is, now that I've been in it for this long, this is the longest tunnel I've been in now. Oh, there's light out there. It should come out like into Middlesboro, Kentucky, which is like a town made by a crater, by the way. Like like a meteorite, people. So it's pretty. Oh shit! Why is it? Oh, it's a merge thing, right?
Yeah, we have to stay here.
If they ain't merged by now, I said it like a mile back that way.
Oh, the tunnel's dipping down. Slow it down.
Yeah, yeah.
We've already been in this thing for at least 45 seconds.
I've been filming for 1 minute and 2 seconds. Dude, that truck is the truck is moving. I thought it was just sitting there. Hell yeah. Let's see how it looks on the other side.
Majestic.
Pretty fucking great, bro, if I do say so myself. All right, see you guys soon. You guys read that? It says beyond the crater. Like I said, it's entirely in a meteorite crater, and all the way around you can just kind of see it. It's like one continuous mountain, like ridge. It's pretty cool. But this is downtown Middlesboro, Kentucky. There's a nice little mural of the town there. It's a nice town. It says 4th of July weekend, by the way. So, I don't know if there's more people doing more things, or stuff just closed for the holiday season. So, hey, they got a skate shop. No, it's a roller skating shop. It's still, you know, pretty cool. But that was Middlesboro, Kentucky. If we were to need it. Interesting place. Was this Redbird mission site. We went to the store, the farmer's market, and this is a community store. It's pretty neat. Well, you see it? The mountains. It's beautiful. Well, this is the average Kentucky road I've been driving on, and I gotta say, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, Kentucky. Good job. Oh yeah, I just love roads like that. It's not just a boulder, it's a rock. The pioneers used to ride those babies for miles. Here in Hazard, Kentucky, they got some photos in this gas station of coal mines. Well, since we are in Kentucky, I'll do as the Kentuckians do. It's pretty good. I like L8. It's a good soda. I recommend. Travel Center in Louisa, Kentucky. They got stuff from Keith Whitley, Dr. Ralph Stanley, Ricky Skaggs, who's actually born here, and several others. Outside here in Louisa, there's this telephone thing booth. I wonder if it works. I think it's supposed to be like from the that one Ricky Skaggs music video. Oh no, there's no dial tone whatsoever. That's just unfortunate. So I think this is going to be a museum, or it might already be, and they're just doing renovations. But there's some like artifacts, like country music artifacts and such in there. I'm getting rained on so much. But yep, Louisa, Kentucky. See you guys later. Well, we're driving over one of those bridges that Mothman ain't got yet. And I see it. We are now in wild and wonderful West Virginia. Hell yeah. Well, Huntington, West Virginia. Turn that fucking wipers off. Huntington, West Virginia.
Keep that in the video.
Yep. Oh, I will. It's actually not really that bad of a town. It's kind of nice. We drove by Camden Park. Gonna have to make it a thing to go there one of these days. But yeah, this is Huntington, and we're still traveling here in West Virginia. I think that's it. You know Moon Man. If you know anybody knows Moon Man, knows I like a good tunnel. So I'll take you guys through this tunnel, regardless of where it ends up. These are always the sketchiest too, because people just come flying around this turn and stuff. Love that. That's so great.
Nothing more American.
Oh, look at that! Look at that old house. Or old? Yeah, I think it was a house. I roll my window down. That's really good. Oh yeah, bro. We're in Milton, West Virginia, property or home of the West Virginia Pumpkin Festival. They have a covered bridge. You can't walk inside it, but you can go up to it during this time of the year. So we're gonna go up there and check out the wildlife and check it out. Let's go do it. Quite a bit of Canada geese out here, just enjoying their day. No, I stepped on that grate. Well, like I said, you can't go in, but it sure is pretty cool. I can assume you can't go in because people, it looks like it's chalk, but it might be a little bit graffiti, but it is very nice and beautiful. I don't know how old it is. It doesn't have any information out here at all about it, but it is a nice place. If I had the time, I would maybe do a little fishing, but I don't. But I thought I'd show you guys this anyway. Well, me and Big Country tried to camp for the night. Got a little torrential storm going on, but to be fair, we didn't pay a dime for this, so it's all good. All right, guys, day 2. I'm here on the Elk River. Me and Big Country staying at Lazy K's campground. It rained all night. I'll show you the actual camping setup, which is, I think I showed you, oh yeah, I showed you guys a little bit of that last night, but I'll show you it from outside. But all right, I'll show you in a minute. Me and Big Country have came to a West Virginia staple, one that we've never had. Tudor's Biscuit World. Honestly, pretty excited. Let's go try it. Well, Tudor's sweet tea is actually sweet, so it confirms they're part of the South. Big Country got the big tater thing, and a biscuit and a muffin. I got the I think it's called the big breakfast platter, super platter. There's only like $8 for this, and I got all this sausage gravy and that with there, so it's a pretty good deal. All right, I'm gonna look to our left here, and there's some trees, but that is the beautiful capital of wild West Virginia. I showed you that last year, probably, so go back and watch that if you haven't already. But yep, this is Charleston, West Virginia. It's a sunny day and it is a beautiful city. Even on the highway, West Virginia never disappoints. I love this place. What say you, Big Country?
I love it.
Heck yeah. Well, we are in Cedar Grove, West Virginia. We saw a sign for a historic church and cemetery, so we're gonna go take a look and read about it all and go show the church off. Let's do it. Walter Kelly moved here in 1773, killed by Native Americans. William Morris came here and he built the church, a school, and he had a boat yard. It was the first permanent settlement in this entire valley, which is pretty cool. Here's the old section of the cemetery. If we can get in there, we might go and look. Okay, so here's the church. There is a monument on the back, but I can't read it. But I think it's similar to this one. But that's pretty cool. And then here's the church itself, built 1853. This one, I guess this is probably not the original church on the site, because it would have been built somewhat time around the 1700s. It's called Virginia's Chapel after W.M. Tompkins' daughter, Virginia. Pretty interesting. I don't necessarily know if these are headstones, but this is this guy and his wife buried here. And this section is the older section. As you can see, there are names. Like this guy died in 1908, Fred Hackworth, 1907, 1908. So he's just a year old when he passed away. Most of them are just field stones in this section, but there are some obelisk style ones. Like there's a pretty big one in the back out here. We'll go look at that. It says Araminta E. Chapman, died in 1911. Pretty cool. A lot of field stones out that way. There's more unmarked, like unnamed graves in this cemetery than there are ones with actual thing. Like this one looks like maybe Marjorie J. Then it's just been like almost lost to time. But I'm sure there's records somewhere of what this one is. Just eroded over time. And there's nothing on the other side at all. This one's a little different because it doesn't have a lot of words on the side. There's a W carved in it, but that's probably newer. Somebody looks like they started to carve their name. It's not the nicest thing. There's a gravestone there. Yes, 1956 JC. But only part with any writing on it is over here.
1877, age 66 years old, 66 years, 4 months, and 20 days.
That's pretty cool. He died in 1870. Yeah. An honest man is the noblest work of God.
To the memory, not in the memory.
Yeah. Of Captain
Or
R.F. Bannister. Huh. Beautiful. And it has started to really erode, which makes sense, it being almost 150 years old. That's pretty cool. This is J.D. Thomas, born March 15th, 1857, died January 12th, 1904. A lot of the ornaments on here have been lost, but the Bible's still there. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And you turn back here, this way, by the old church here, there's one that's got an open one on top there, and a very nice pattern all the way around. Is G.W. Spruce, died, I think that's 1884, 66 years old. And then it has other things, but I can't make out what that says. But it's just sitting on a rock. People still leave stuff out here. This grave is a little bit weird. I've never seen one like this. It's just two little pillars. I'm assuming this is a grave. It's next to this one, which is eroded off here, which was Dovey Keller. It says something of J. Keller, 1840 to 1883. That's 42 years old. In 11 months, 22 days. It's a little hole there. It says, oh, twins. There's also twins buried here. The brewer Emily Floyda Cora, wife of E.L., twins aged 3 months. So that's interesting. And without being, I'm not trying to do much, but here's part of the inside of the church right there. See that? That's coal right there. Oh yeah. Yeah, we love coal. I'm a big fan.
oh yeah,
Yeah, load them chutes. Yeah. Pack them conveyors full, son. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Right here?
Yeah.
Right, all right.
yep.
Let's stop here. Make sure everything's good. Shit. I'm a real big fan of bridges, to be honest.
This part.
Bridge over troubled water. I think that's the song. Straight? Or are we going down?
Straight.
Okay.
I take it slowly because it kind of does a weird rap.
Yeah.
I take
Yeah.
it even slower.
I see what you're saying. We definitely didn't come through this last time.
No.
This weird little pond. I think it's a fish hatchery, but it might just be a water treatment. But it smells like fish all up and down this fucking holler. So, what town are we in? Page?
Yeah.
Page, West Virginia? Hey, might as well drive through this and see what's down here. Wooden bridge, good sign, good sign. Oh.
Church.
Yep. Little church in the valley.
2 people going there.
It's Sunday too. You go down here and ask them why they're not at church. Got no excuse. Live right next to it.
I do some missionary work.
Yeah. It's a nice little community. I could live out here. I like the railroad tracks are in your front yard. All right, there. I'm not sure where we're at in West Virginia. But if you look right here, this gold cross and 2 blue ones, if you recall back to the earlier part of the video where we saw the Harrison Mays crosses, these crosses were famously put all over America by the traveling preacher, I think his name was Bernard Coffindaffer. So they're pretty old. Usually they're made of metal. These look like they're made of wood, so it could potentially not be his, but I do believe it to be his. Behind the crosses, there's actually a cemetery. I don't know if it's an old one or a new one, but it's kind of just out in the middle of nothing. Let's take a look. See some 1920s and see some 1970s. Pretty cool. Nice little cemetery hidden out here. Well, we're in some random holler in West Virginia, and that's seen better days. Definitely seen better days. Prime real estate right there. Hey, dear.
Man, you look so pretty. Oh man, there's a doe.
Oh, there's a little baby. There's one up there. Not sure, but I think this old church is, these people are using it as their shed. It's kind of interesting. I don't know, man.
I wonder where they park.
I like riding through the countryside. Driving through Flatwoods, West Virginia. Home of the Flatwoods Monster, the original home. And right there is the spot. Across from the spot, we still don't have time to eat there today, but we'll try to come back maybe next year. They got one of the 5 Flatwoods Monster chairs, which is pretty cool. You can sit in it. Taken by the monster. All right, so we'll come back to the actual spot and eat whenever it's open one day. It's not open now, but let's check out the billboard more up close. It's just in someone's yard, mind you. Beautiful. It was raining really fucking hard, so we got off the interstate, and I have no idea what I was witnessing. What is happening? What is happening? Oh, dude, that's kind of... Dude, what the hell? What the heck is happening here? Oh, that's... Oh! Oh my god. The hole punch. Alright guys, we are officially in Pennsylvania. This is our setup here. You see we've been tent camping a lot. We are in Madison, Pennsylvania, KOA. It's pretty nice place. I like it. Right, never heard of this before. It might just be a Pennsylvania thing for all I know, but we'll go try it out.
Yeah, that's a big old bridge.
Okay, somewhere near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Driving over, that's wonderful.
Oh, I found Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, it's big. Interesting. Can someone tell me why Pittsburgh smells like oregano? I just kind of want to know that.
Authentic.
Yeah. Well guys, tried to film the mattress factory for you guys here in Pittsburgh, but it's closed on Monday, so that sucks. Maybe next time. We found this free garden. It's called like the Alphabet Garden or something. You just put in a free code and you get into it here in Pittsburgh. It's not quite the mattress factory, but it is pretty nice and peaceful. And so far, Pittsburgh has been a very artsy town, and I really like that. It's really nice. It smells really strongly of flowers, and it's a really nice break on this trip though to see something like this and be over in something, you know, at least nature inspired. This is a whole thing of different languages and stuff. Spanish, Ojibwe, Yupik, Lithuanian, Arabic, French, German. It's all scattered here on this wall that used to have a bunch of hidden ghost signs on there, a bunch of murals that are now ghost murals, but it's pretty cool. Get up here. Oh, it has like a little seating area where you can sit. It's pretty cool. And on this side, there's like a chicken. Oh, a chicken pen. That's pretty cool. All right, we're going into downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So far, first time in the city. Impressed with it. It's a nice city. It's pretty clean from the parts I've seen, and it's pretty nice. People have been pretty friendly too. So that's a plus. And it's pretty big. I like that. I like the bridges too. The yellow bridges there, that's a good touch. Oh my gosh.
That's a Dollar General.
It's a Dollar General. I've never seen a Dollar General like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, ride that scooter. We need to do that one day.
It's not really a bad part of town.
You say that. It is a beautiful city. I like the city a lot, actually.
I do too.
We gotta come back, spend more time. It's a really nice and beautiful church here in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if it's still what it's used for, but it is really nice. Let's go get a little, we're gonna drive right past it in a second. Wow, that is actually really beautiful. Extremely.
They're from Georgia.
AD Major Marjoram de Gloriam. Hey, hold on, what are you doing?
I don't know if it's a tunnel.
No, we're going under the bridge has two sections. We drove over the top of it, now we're going underneath the bottom of it.
Do it.
This is a beautiful tunnel.
All right. Record it?
Pittsburgh.
All right, I'll record it. All right, love you. Bye.
I just like to record driving through the tunnels.
No cursing.
Huh?
It's a no cursing.
Man, I don't even practice witchcraft.
Man, this one's pretty long.
I don't think it's as long as the Cumberland Gap one went through, but it's pretty long.
It's really pretty.
It is. Are we on the interstate now?
I have no idea.
Hope it goes right back over a bridge. Beautiful.
You leave the tunnel and go underneath.
There's Buffalo, New York, right there in the cityscape here at night. It's actually pretty beautiful. Here's the city hall at night. It's really, really big. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the McKinley Monument. He was assassinated here. Yeah, he's the president. Me and Big Country are at a KOA campground here in Lewiston, New York.
What time is it?
It's like 3:15, and you see our little tiny grill for size comparison. Yeah, we roasted weenies. Yeah. I'm leaving that in. You're feeding the fire, man. You're fanning it. Well, this is a thing. This is a thing. We are in the city of Dunkirk because they have a lighthouse museum. We're gonna go take a tour of it. So let's do it.
Somebody tried to go to the ATM and the bank decided it's going to blacktop because it was a holiday. So you couldn't get near the machine, but people were walking at it.
Pretty cool.
Movies have excellent drone shots of the water,
They
and
were
the cliffs
away
and the
from
tower
everybody
and
else.
the area. Not had a person living in our house since 1960 because that is when they automated the light. Lighthouse unmanned. Okay. Before 1960, somebody had to live on the property to operate the light. Where the black fence is, there's a white sign right there. Okay. That tower by 1875 was in disrepair, and we had so much erosion that they had to move the tower because it was getting too close to the corner of the property and it would have fallen in. So they took it down. It was a round tower. They took it down block by block. They brought it over here, they rebuilt the tower, the round tower, put the Victorian house up. Didn't like the way the Victorian house looked with the round tower, so they put a square tower around the outside of the round tower to make it more aesthetically pleasing.
So it's still a round tower.
For me, there's a photoelectric eye on it that kicks them on during the day. Okay, and back when it was, before it was electric, the lens on this tower used to go around in a circle like this, and you had to go to the top of the tower every between 1875 and 1960. So we have lots of period pieces in the kitchen, the dining room, the living room, the lighthouse keeper's bedroom, the bathroom. The second floor bedrooms, the children slept in up there. There's 4 of them. Each one is a different branch of the armed forces, so we're a military museum besides. So we have Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and Vietnam up on the second floor. We have so many artifacts, we had to actually build that building over there. That's our Coast Guard, Navy, submarine, and overflow building. So we will go between the 2 buildings on our tour.
Okay.
All the windows would be open, and they had shutters on the windows with the slats in them, so you could pull the shutters closed and keep the sun's heat from coming in, but letting the breeze off the lake, because of course the lake would always be cooler than the air. Like today, the lake right now is about 68 degrees. So we get a nice cool breeze off the lake, which helps keep us cooler here, all right? This stove could do wood, coal, or natural gas, right? We have our cast iron pots and pans. You didn't have a microwave, so this is a warming oven right here. So you put things in here or up here to keep them warm until you were ready to serve them. And you didn't have a hot water tank in your house, so there was a tank in here with a spigot on it that you filled with water. And when you needed hot water for washing dishes or cleaning up, you'd open this, take some water out. And then, of course, like your ice cube trays, you had to pour more water in it so that you had more water, hot water for the next time you needed it.
Yeah.
Okay? We have our irons for ironing our clothes. And then they use this thing right here.
Popcorn maker?
No. I suppose you could put popcorn on there, but no, that's not really what it's for. It actually has 2 purposes. One is a cooking thing, one is not.
I don't know.
It's a toaster.
Oh.
Okay? You put your bread on here like this.
Oh, yeah.
The heat comes up, the heat comes up to here, toast one side. When that side's done, you flip the bread over, you toast the second side. Then you put it in the warming oven to keep it warm until you're ready to serve it. Okay? But it also is a hat dryer.
A hat dryer? Oh, a hat dryer.
A hat dryer. Because, of course, back in those days, your hat was made out of wool. When wool gets wet and dries, it shrinks. So, of course, you don't want your hat too small for your head. So when your hat was wet, you take it off. You might have to stuff it just a little bit, but you get it on here nice and snug. You set it up here, let it dry. Once it's dry, of course, you can put it back on your head. It fits perfectly. Or in the middle of winter when it's 35 below zero and you got to go outside, you might warm your head up before you go outside because, of course, 90% of your body heat goes out the top of your head. And, of course, you have hair on the tops of your head, so your head will stay warmer than mine. Okay? Of course, after you do warm your hat up in here, what you do have to do is wash this so you don't have hat hair and dandruff on your toast.
That's awesome.
I have all kinds of interesting things up there to look at, not necessarily things you would put on the top shelf, because of course I have soap up there. And you did use soap more than once a year. You might not use it every day, but you did use it more than once a year. Okay? It needed the heat out but kept the smoke in. The chandelier was kerosene converted to electric. And of course, when it was kerosene, the woman of the house had to fill it, clean it, and light it. Because, of course, back in the day, not being politically incorrect or anything, but back in the day, women were in the house, the men were outside. So, of course, she had to fill it, clean it, light it. And back in the 1870s, an average height person in the 1870s and early 1900s, 5 foot.
5 foot?
5 foot. Now it's 5'7". But back in, early 1900s, 5 foot was average height person. We have our foot pedal sewing machine, and this is a little bit more modern toaster. This one was electric. Named John Marshall. He was a Canadian artist, and he did mostly lighthouse and nautical theme paintings. So we have Peggy's Cove up in Nova Scotia right there. This big one right here is Point Avenue Lighthouse. Point Avenue is on Lake Erie across from Buffalo on the Canadian shore. And that is where the Welland Canal comes into Lake Erie from Lake Ontario. So all the freighters head to that because there is only one way to get from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario before the Welland Canal was there, and that was over Niagara Falls. Of course,
Yeah,
that's
you
not a
don't
good
want to
way
do that
to
one.
take a boat,
No.
okay? Or a raft, or a life jacket, or anything, or a barrel, you know, going over Niagara Falls. So what they had to do was build locks that would get you down the 90 feet into Lake Ontario from Lake Erie. So it's called the Welland Canal.
Okay.
All right, here as display so people can see them, but look at the detail on that. It's really quite amazing.
It really is.
And we have a couple more in the other building that I'll show you. They're small enough to fit inside a case. This one's not. So I leave it here, and I always tell everybody, in case I get cold, I can just stick it in the wood stove. You pretty much fall on the bed. And you'll see the big painting John Marshall did of our lighthouse in there. The top of the tower. So if the light is on, of course, he can go back to sleep. If the light is off, he knows he has to get up and do his job.
Okay.
Okay. And there's a picture of Mr. Arnold right there when he was the assistant lighthouse keeper. This is Mr. Arnold when he was the lighthouse keeper, and this is Mr. Arnold when he retired. This painting of our lighthouse over the fireplace was painted for the Arnolds in the 1930s by a man who lived across the street. He gave it to them. They had it hanging over the fireplace where it is today. Of course, when they left, they took it with them. Their daughter had it, and when she passed away, her son sent it back to us and said, put it back over the fireplace where it belongs. This is Peter Dempsey. He was here from 1885 to 1902, for almost 20 years. The women's chair does not have arms, the men's chair does. The men's chair is called the captain's chair, in case you're ever on Jeopardy, okay? The woman's chair is called a sewing and knitting chair. And when you're sewing and knitting, of course, your elbows go back and forth. Well, if you have arms on your chair, you now have to lift your shoulders like this to sew and knit. Not very comfortable, you know, so they could drop their arms like this and be more comfortable when they were knitting, plus holding the baby. But the other reason it doesn't have arms is because women wear hoop skirts. And if a woman in a hoop skirt sat in a chair with arms, it bunched her dress up and flipped the hoops up into the air, which of course wouldn't be very appropriate. Okay? So they had to have a chair without arms. And of course, World War II silk parachutes. And it was worn by 4 local sisters between 1945 and 1953. So back, of course, during World War II, material for wedding dresses was scarce. And this man, Robert Farnham, was coming home on a 30-day leave to marry his girlfriend. Her name was Adeline Coplaner. He brought home 2 used silk parachutes. He gave them to her. She had 2 weeks to have them made into a wedding dress. So she took them to a local seamstress who put the 2 parachutes together. The decorations on that dress are apple blossoms that were waxed and sewn on in 1945. So in February of 1947, when her sister Geraldine was getting married to Frederick Fuller, she wore the same dress to her wedding. In September of 1947, her sister Bee wore it when she married Art Lamb. And here, of course, you can see how full the bottom of the dress is, because, of course, parachutes are huge.
Yeah.
All right. In 1953, their youngest sister Mary wore it when she married James Harrington. And in 2005, this is what the 4 sisters looked like when they donated the wedding dress to the White House. So, now it's also the capstan off of a ship.
Oh, what?
A capstan.
What's that?
Well, that's a good question. I was going to ask you if you knew, but okay. The capstan is what raises and lowers the anchor.
Okay.
So, like on those old sailing vessels, you'll see this on a big post with a big rope attached to it, and you see the sailors pick up a big, huge pole, and they shove the pole through the holes at the top and start walking around.
Yeah.
One way makes the anchor go up, the other way makes the anchor go down. So not only is it a lighthouse, but it's a capstan also. German helmets, some American helmets. This helmet right here has a bullet hole right in the front.
Dumb master?
Yeah, because when you were shooting it, it would dance around the ground and make everything underneath it look like mashed potatoes. So if you want to sit down on it, you can, but you do have to make the machine gun noise if you sit down. Or K-rations. That box was 1 meal. It had 3 cans of food, a packet of coffee, chocolate, 4 cigarettes, a pack of matches, and some toilet paper in there.
Like how the cigarettes came pre-packed.
They did, in little packs of 4. Okay. You had a can opener. The can opener looked like that. Each box had one of those, but you kept one on your dog tags because sometimes, of course, they weren't in the box. So you made sure you always had one. And soldiers that were like World War II in Korea and Vietnam, they will still carry one on their keychains because they work like for opening packages and stuff. They were really handy to have. Because it would help circulate the air through the room. So in the summertime, when you had all the windows open, you get that beautiful cross breeze.
Yeah.
But in the wintertime, the only heat you had on the 2nd floor is what came out of that little area right there. These are all the planes that Hornet shot down during World War II. It was one of the most decorated ships. It's now a museum in Alameda, California. Back. But when you're on the equator that first time, there's a ritual that's performed, so you earn the right to become the shellback or a member of King Neptune's tribe. So some people have to dress like this. There's some things you have to do, and then you get this nice certificate right here that says you're a member of King Neptune's tribe. There's also when we're crossing the prime meridian, which is the Golden Dragon. If you go to the Arctic, you become a red nose. If you go to the Antarctic, you become a blue nose. Headed to Vietnam and to the missing soldier ceremony, and then the two rooms across the hall are Army and Air Force, so we can head over there whenever you're ready. You paid a yearly tax on how many rooms your house had. If your closet was like we have today, 2.5 feet wide by 7 feet long,
They call it another room.
they called it a room because it was long enough for somebody to lay down in. So even though it was only this wide. So instead of having 4 bedrooms up here, you would have had 8 bedrooms up here, which would have doubled the amount of tax you paid. So as long as the closet was only as thick as the wall or under a staircase, you didn't pay the tax on it. You pay tax on how many fireplaces your house had. And that's why a lot of the fireplaces had the opening between the 2 rooms. Because that was one fireplace. If it had the brick wall between them, you had 2 fireplaces.
Yep.
Same thing. The banner that's right there on the wall is an original. That was ripped down off of a building in Italy at the end of World War II by a local soldier. They were going through the town. It was hanging on the wall. He grabbed it, yanked it down, stuck it in his pack, and brought it home. He had it in his house until he passed away, and then his family decided we should have it here as part of our display to remind everybody this is what we were fighting against in World War II. We're told, do not take action. Fight to the death. Which is why most of them did. You know, if they did get the Army until 1947, it was Army Air Corps, and then it became its own entity, and they called it the Air Force. Okay? I come in and say, you know, my grandfather's stuff has been sitting in my closet or up in my attic for 1,800 years. You want it, and they bring it here. So we've amassed a huge collection. Air Force portable phone. That's the beginning of all the cell. Of course, you know you.
A little bit bigger.
A little tough to carry in your pocket. Of course, you could only talk on it. You know, couldn't take any pictures or videos or play games or, you know, use it for, you know, Google searches and stuff. Under the tower, which is right there, would use this door. And that way you didn't have people you didn't know carrying all kinds of dirty things walking through your house. And of course, while you're in the house, you have your children. This was a dump waiter.
Okay.
All right, so the bucket would have been in there, or there would have been a rope attached to it going all the way to the top. Anything he needed, he would put in the bucket. When he got to the top, of course, he would pull the bucket up, take the stuff out. If he needed more stuff, he sent the bucket down. But he didn't come down the stairs. He had somebody down here filling it. So somebody like William Sinfield on his crutches, he could actually stay down here and do stuff, but not have to climb the stairs and still feel like he was doing his job.
Okay, store it there, and then cool. It's a lighthouse. There's Lake Erie.
It'll be pretty clear today, but there are 75 wind turbines on the shoreline out over Canada, and some days you can see the tops of the wind turbines. We haven't been this year because of the forest fires, and sometimes it's so smoky that you can't see the point, like right there. See how you see the 3 points? You can't see the 3rd point because of the smoke sometimes. But if you look behind that point, you can kind of see the land on the horizon going out. Sometimes you can see where it stops. That would be Buffalo and the Niagara River. Which of course ward off evil spirits, so all our ghosts have to be friendly. Okay. But on a rainy day, see the pipe sticking out of their head? Yeah. Their mouth? When it rains, all the rain runs down off the roof and out that pipe onto the observation deck. That's the drain for the roof. The gutters and downspouts. And satellite feed on the back of the tower sends all the information out to NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, so that they can know what the weather is doing here. And we have on our website a link to the weather. If you click on that, it'll for the tower. And of course, you don't want to stand here and ring it. You know, again, work smarter, not harder. They hooked it to a diesel engine and gears. So they start the diesel engine turned the gears, and the gears are hooked to the bell striker to make the bell ring at that constant speed the whole time it was foggy out. And we do let people hit it once with the hammer. It is a rubber mallet, so it won't hurt it any.
Interesting.
Your kids can go to public schools and you can do all kinds of stuff that you can't do on one of those isolated islands. So this is our 4P light changer right here. This is what's up in our tower. I showed you the light bulb when we were in there, but that's the actual changer that flips when the light bulb burns out. And the canister behind it's like the little computer that's hooked to it that recognizes when the light bulbs are burnt out.
Yeah, you gotta move it up and down there. Oh yeah.
Look at the hands.
You said this one shoots out, or the one in the lighthouse shoots out 17 miles?
Yes.
Like that? Oh,
It's
wow.
actually it's designed to shoot out 30.
Yeah.
But the tower would have to be a lot taller because the laws of physics, the horizon is the height of the tower, the curvature of the earth.
Yeah.
Okay? How high are you off for a reason?
So we don't go blind.
Huh?
So we don't go blind.
Well, that too. No. If you're a boater and you take the boating class, there's a saying, when you're coming into a harbor, you have to keep the red light on the right side of your boat in order to get into the harbor safely. So it's red, right, returning. Keep the red light on the right side of your boat to get in the harbor safely. If the red light's on the left side of your boat, you're going to crash. So that tower that's out there is a red light. So if you stay to the left of that red light, you'll go into the harbor. If you're on the right of the red light, you're going to run aground. Okay? So red, right, returning. That was the father of the American Navy, but they were built to scale by a person on the other who lives on the other side of Buffalo.
Wow.
I mean, but it has a specific name, and I cannot think of the name of it right now. So and of course, a good thing it didn't come at 2 a.m. You know, I'd have been jumping out of bed going.
So we're at the end of the tour. I'm about to head out of this one, but couldn't recommend it more. They're super friendly, and it's a really good tour. I couldn't even show you guys everything. There's so much in the tour. So on to the next one.
Oh shit, probably.
Almost heaven, Pennsylvania. This is Linesville, Pennsylvania. Pardon the dirty windshield. Alright, this is further down in Linesville, the actual downtown section here.
It's kind of pretty.
Left of this light. It is pretty. I like Pennsylvania. Well, crossing the Palmatunic Lake here in Pennsylvania, and I'm filming to show you, not just because it's beautiful, but because right now, soon to be, yeah, right up here, we're past this little green sign on the right. We are entering the town of Andover, which is in Ashtabula County, Ohio.
Oh man!
Yeah! Yeah! Now we're down here in the town square of Andover.
Gas station. You want to do for what? For the video?
Let's go gas station.
Proud to be American.
It's a nice little town.
I know I'm free.
No chains, you know. Everything's got something in it, and there's no chains. I like that. Their bank, it's even the Andover Bank. Nice.
You think that's this far?
Might be. Driving through Canton, Ohio, and there, of course, is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. May I go there one day? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I went down to Buckeye Lake here by the Gathering in Ohio, and I caught my first Ohio bass. It's a largemouth bass. It's pretty nice. So we'll go ahead and let him back. Damn, there's so many rocks. All right, let's do it again. on the Mother Road in Kentucky, heading back south to go home. I think this is probably where I'll end this let's just road trip vlog. So thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, share, Moo Man. He's out.